Hi everyone, so I'm back again. I'm going to continue with the shoe theme now that I've done the high heel shoe and the high heel boot. So I'm going to continue on now with a platform shoe, and then I'm going to do another one after that. I might as well tell you now while I'm doing it so you know that there's going to be plenty to see. I'm also going to do a fantasy shoe. So I'll take you on down to my work area. So to start off with, I've got here the templates that I'm going to use for the shoe. I've got, as you can see, I've got two sole templates here. That will become obvious when I get round to it. A heel template and an inner sole template. So I'm just going to pop those to one side for now, because the main one I'm going to concentrate on is the sole template. So first of all, I need to get my heel. Now, one thing that I want to talk about first of all before I do the start with the sole on this, when I showed you this polystyrene former before, as I said, the heel is too low down for to attach your sole to. So what I should have told you about is what you need to do is to attach something to the back of the former so that you can drop your heel into it. Whoops, it's come off. I've just folded some paper over with some pins in, so I'll just pop those in on either side of the heel like that to hold the heel in place so that it doesn't drop down any further, so that you can attach your heel onto the top of that. So I'm just going to pop that to one side for the time being, and then we'll get on to the first part of the sole when I find where I've put my paste. I've done it again, haven't I? I'm usually prepared for these things, and unfortunately I know what I've done. It's under here. Don't mind me talking to myself, I do this all the time. This is what happens when you live on your own. You talk to yourself or to the cat. Right, so what I've got here is some Pastelage, which is firmer than sugar paste that I used before. If anybody wants the information on the Pastelage, what I will do is I'll put the recipe, the quantity of things that you need, below this video. So then if you want to have a go at making your own Pastelage, then you can do that. And I've got the wrong one there, that's not sugar paste, that's flour paste. Is that? You get used to the feel of these things when you get used to using them. So I should have looked before I bent down to there we are, it's in here. I've already coloured some Pastelage for the second part of the sole, and I've made a sort of like a turquoisey colour for this. And what I've done is I've used some navy blue and mixed some Christmas green in from Sugar Flare. If you're using Squire's Kitchen, then it's holly and ivy. I've just mixed both of them together to make this sort of turquoisey colour. If you have that colour in your armoury with your paste, then that's fine. But as I tell all my students, there's no point in buying loads of different colours when you can mix them yourself. You just get the basic colours that you need, and then do it from there. So I'm just going to work this paste. I won't need all this actually, I probably need about half of that. Just cut that in half, rock that back up again and put that in my bag. Pop that in there with the other. So what I'm using the Pastelage to make the sole and the heel with. The heel's already been made in the colour that I've used. So as you can see, that's already dried, so that's ready to use. And I'm going to use white for the bottom part, for the first part of the platform. The reason being that I'm going to paint that gold when it's dried. So I need to get this part made first and dried before I can do the second part of the sole. So what I'll do is I'll do this, then I'll let that dry, then I'll come back and show you the second part. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by rolling it slightly into a sausage like that. Get my rolling pin and start to roll it out. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start rolling down thinly, but I'm leaving this front part quite thick. Just bring that further forward. This might not work on the first roll, I might have to re-knead it and come back to it again. You just have to feel your way along with these things when you're doing this sort of job until you find out that you've got the right amount. It's like using moulds. If you try some of the paste in your mould to see what fits, see, that's not going to be long enough, that, so I'm just right, everybody, I'm back again to take you on to the next stage. So as I said, there's going to be two colours on here, but what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to paint the white part with some gold. So I'm going to use some isopropyl. You can use lemon extract, not pure lemon juice because it's got too much water in it, but lemon extract is fine. So what I need to do is to reconstitute some of the gold powder I've got already in my lid. Always use my lid as a palette so that you don't waste anything, because once you've finished, then if you just let it dry out, then you can add more either isopropyl or lemon extract or whatever it is you're using to reconstitute your colour and use it again, so you don't waste anything. We're not throwing anything away here. So I'm just going to move that bottle of isopropyl out of the way. We don't want to knock that over. And what I'm going to do, I've put some kitchen roll on my former here while I do this, so that I don't get the gold all over the place. Now if you want a very smooth edge on your soles, you can actually, with using Pastelage, rub it down with some sandpaper, because it's firm enough to be able to take it. So in order, if you haven't got a really good finish on the edge and it is a little bit rough, you can do that once it's dried. I'm also going to go slightly over the edge here, just in case any of this bit shows. We don't want any white showing through, so I'm going to go over the edge because we're going to cover that over with the next colour anyway. So, but it is slightly smaller, so you may have a little bit of it showing. Don't get your gold too thin either. It wants to be fairly thick, otherwise it dries streaky, and then if you try to cover it over, you can bring the gold back off again. I'm going to take that up the side. Again over the edge. And we're not going to take it right the way round because you're going to put your heel bit on, so I've only gone to there with that on that side, and then we'll just continue all the way around. making sure you cover that edge up so that if any of it does show, then it's just going to show gold. You don't have to be neat about that because you're only going to see a little bit of it anyway, but you just want to make sure that you have covered all bases when you come round to it, because if you start trying to cover up bits of gold, you can get it on where you don't want it to be. So just ensure before you do it that you've covered all your bits and pieces. I'm repeating myself again, aren't I? I do tend to do that sometimes. Sometimes when you're doing a job, it's easier to narrate to yourself to make sure you're doing the job right. Bring that up to the same level up there. Then right, so once that's done, we can put that to one side, get rid of that gold powder. I'm just going to put that to one side so that can dry out. Put your powder out of the way so you don't knock it over, and get rid of your brush, and we'll just get a bit of kitchen roll to rub that gold off my board that I've splashed on there. And I'm just going to move that out of the way just for the time being while I go on to the next stage, which is to roll out the next colour that you're going to put on. Got a bit more gold on there, I've just noticed, so we'll get rid of that as well. Not that it'll make a lot of difference because it's going to be underneath, but we like to be neat and tidy, don't we? So, start my paste off, then get the rolling pin and roll it out side to side so that's wide enough for the front of the shoe, and then we can start rolling down then. Now I'm just going to shape that bit there because I've got it a little bit thin. In fact, I'll use this side because that's thicker there. Right, if I just try the other template, this is the second template, that was the first, sorry, wrong one. This is the second template where the little, oh it is the right one, so that's the second template that goes into there, so that's slightly shorter. That was the first one. You get confused because I've got quite a lot of templates all in one here, so I just have to remind myself what I'm doing. This is one of the good reasons about talking to yourself. You can do that. Right, so I'll lay that on there, and then again what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that off of my board because I don't want to use my scalpel on there. Like that. And where's my scalpel gone? There. And then I'm just going to cut round the edge here, round the shape. going to go inside that because I've gone a little bit too far out from there. That's it. Round the back. And up the side. Right, so I'm going to take the template off now so I can see where I've gone and just go around and finish that line off neatly. Got a little bit jagged there, so I've take that off so I can see where I've gone. Right, so I'll get rid of that. Then I can just go around the edge now and tidy up. Take that bit off of that. Got some finger marks in there, so I'll just smooth that off. Keep moving that round, it's sliding round a little bit, so you just need to just take a little bit of care around there. So go back to my shoe, and then if I glue all over the shoe, I've got bits of gold dust mixed in with, but that doesn't matter because that's going to be covered over anyway, so we're alright there. So then if you get this piece, lift that off of your board and then onto your shoe. Now you can spread this out once you've got it on. So I'm a little bit off the edges there, I've got it a little bit too small, so I'm just going to bring that out a little bit. Make sure that's in the centre. Got a bit of gold on it there. Just be a bit careful of that because the gold was just a little bit wet on the edge there, so Now I've lost a little bit of the gold there, so I'm just going to go back in and just touch that up a little bit before I put this to one side to dry, because I need this to dry now before I do anything else on it. I just managed to rub a bit of the gold off there, so we'll just miss any more. Just a little bit there on the top. There we are. So now I can put that to one side to dry. So this is how far we've got with that. You can see the gold round the edge there and the blue on top. You can do your shoe whatever colour you want, but these are the colours that I'm using on this. So I'm going to put that away to dry now for probably about an hour, and then I'll come back and go on to the next stage. Onto the shoe. So what I've done is I've rolled out some light browny coloured paste here, which I'm going to use for the sole. So I'm going to cut that out now, and I'm using the first template that I used for cutting out the first part of the base of the shoe. There we are. So cut that out. Now something to take into account here, if you wanted to, what you could do is to cut out another piece of the paste to cover the inside of the heel, if you wanted to. But I'm not going to do on this occasion. I'm going to turn this over now, because I need to glue all this, and then I'm going to put that onto the shoe. So get my glue. And I've got some gold on here. See, this is what you've got to be careful of, because when you paint it with gold, it does come off on your hands. So what I haven't done, and I should have done, was to steam the gold on, but to save time, because it's a demonstration, I haven't done that. But if I was taking time with it, I would steam that to set the colour on there before I did anything else, and let that dry before I started adding the sole or anything like that. So what I'm going to do here is, first of all, I'm going to use a heel here to cut out the top bit here. There we are, across there, just to take that off, because the heel's going to be there. So just cut that off properly. There we are. Take that away. Don't waste anything. Put it back into your paste and into your bag. And what I can do now is to turn the shoe upside down very carefully, and then turn the sole over. Make sure that you've got your template the right way around when it comes to doing this, to make sure that it fits your shoe. There's probably going to be a little bit over, so I'm going to stretch this a little bit so that it fits. And I've just cracked my sole because I didn't have any support underneath it. This is what you need to be careful of when you're doing anything like this. You don't put too much pressure on. But I can repair that afterwards. So what I'm going to do now is, now that I've put the sole onto there, I'm going to transfer the shoe back onto there, so that stays put, and what I'm going to do there is I'm going to repair this now while I've got it on the stand. So I'm just going to put some glue in there because this hasn't set properly yet, so I can get in there and put some glue in to repair that bit if I get into the groove there. This is going to be covered over by the inner anyway, so let's make sure that's all pushed together like that. That's it. And I've got gold on my hands again, so I'm just going to clean my hands off before I do anything else and just get that off of there. If you do get any gold on where it shouldn't be, or any colour when it comes to anything like this, what you can do is I'm just going to put some isopropyl on my hands to get rid of the gold off. That should bring it off. There we are, it's got most of it off. It's like I say, if I was doing this normally I would leave it a lot longer before I started attempting to put anything else on, let it dry out properly. There is some to cut off there, but I can do that after I've put the inner sole on, so I'm going to do that next. See, this is what I mean about things going wrong. I don't cut these things out when I'm doing a demonstration, because for the simple reason that if things do go wrong, don't panic. You need to know what to do about it, don't you, so you can repair it and you're not going to lose all your work that you've done, that you put all that work into. And the advantage with that now is because I've just put the sole on underneath, and then I'm going to put an inner sole on the inside of the shoe. That's going to help to hold everything in place so that it'll all stay together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll out some of this paste here. This is going to be for the inner sole. Now here I've got my template for the inner sole, and if you wanted to, you could cut out a strip like that if you wanted to put a label in, if you're doing a designer shoe. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out with a fancy edge. I saw somebody do this in a video with these sort of shoes when you're doing a designer shoe, and it looked quite interesting. Since I don't wear designer shoes, I wouldn't know, but I'm sure any of you ladies that are watching, or men that are making these for a lady, will know what I mean. And they like all these fancy shoes and wardrobes full of them. So I'm going to roll this out fairly thinly. This is just flour paste, by the way. As I've said before, when I do this video, I'm going to put the quantities of everything for the paste that I've used for the sole and everything. What I'm using here is I'm using the zigzag cutting wheel on the PME cutting wheel, and it's going to give me a sort of a jagged edge on my inner sole. And of course you can cut this out on your cell board or whatever you're using for cutting your flower petals out or anything like that, because it's plastic and it doesn't damage it. And just take that off and pull that away, and there we have a rather nice looking inner sole to put in the shoe. So if I bring the shoe back over, Now before I put that on, because I've got that crack across there, I'm going to pull that together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, just for security, I'm going to mix some of the glue that I've used for doing the shoe with some glue, and I'm going to repair that bit before I put the inner sole on so it can't be seen. So that's going to be underneath. So this, again, as I've shown you before, is a way of repairing things if things do get broken and you need to repair them. Let's get some more glue on there. Because they've all got the same ingredients in them, pastelage is made very similar to the flour paste, but it's made so it dries out faster and goes harder. And if you're doing anything like this, and particularly if you can work fast, then it comes in handy. But they're both made with the Tylose powder in them as well. So by mixing the glue with it, which is made from Tylose powder or CMC, if you can't, Tylose is a brand name of CMC. So it's CMC powder is what you're looking for, which is an artificial gum tragacanth. I'm just going to put some of that into the crack like that. And just tidy that edge up, get that bit off. There we are, that's better. So now if I glue around the inside there of the shoe, I'm not going right to the edge because we're not going to the very edge with this, and we're not going right to the front either because it's got that squared off piece. Down to about there, and then if we get the inner sole and pop that on there like that, that covers all that piece up there, so we can't see where I've cracked it. So the next job to do now is to do the back of the shoe. So I'm going to use some of the paste that I used to make the top sole. Roll that out. Picked a bit of gold up there from somewhere. That's disappeared anyway. Right, I'm just going to try my template on there for the back of the shoe. Wherever I've put it. There it is, under the heel. Just try that on there. Just need to roll that out a little bit more. That way. And roll it a bit this way as well. Cut that out using my cutting wheel. Wherever I put it, oh, there's one there. Let's move that a bit further over. and cut that out. As you can see from the other shoe that I did, this is a different shape to the last shoe. And then there's a little V out of the back there. Just take that off of that. Take the excess away. Right, so I'm just going to pop that to one side for a minute, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the paste that I've used for the inner sole and I'm going to roll that out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line the other side of that to match with the inner sole that we've just done in the shoe. So again, you can get it pretty thin because you're going to put two layers together here. So I'm just going to turn that over so I've got the side that I've just, and if I glue all over on that, rather than cutting two pieces out using the same template, they might not fit, so this is a better way of doing it, because that way you make sure everything fits then. So just pop that onto there like that. And again, follow around the edge of your paste. And then round the outside edge. Once you've cut it out, if you've got any showing, you can take that off once you've cut the main shape out. Just use my scalpel just to get that piece out. There we are. That's it. Now there's a little bit showing there around the edge there, so we just take that off. There we are. And a bit there. That's it. Get rid of those bits. And the next step I can do now is, if you go to your stitching wheel, because I've got two of these, so I've got one already set up, and then just go around the edge with that to make it look as though the inner part of the heel is stitched to the outer part. Go across the bottom like that. And then up each side of the split there, so when we join that on the back, there we are. So that's done. So you've got your inner part and your outer part, and what you can do is, if you stitch around go around the edge of the inner part to stitch that onto there, so that's your, shows your stitches coming through. Where's me? There it is. So just finish that off on the inside as well. and up each side of the little piece in the middle where it's been stitched. So there we are, we've got that stitching round there. So we go back to the shoe now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue round this edge that we left here. So you need to come right up onto the top, on the two pieces of sole that you've got. How far is that? That's going to go a bit further round than I've got there. So yeah, so that's going to come together like that and round there. So I need to come a little bit further down with the glue, down to here. And bring that round onto there like that, and bring that together at the back. I'm just going to have to turn this round to do this so that I can work from the back. So I'm just going to pinch that back piece together and bring that in like that onto the side, and then just shape the back of the heel. There we are. So that's that part done. Now if you want to put something in there to hold it in place, you can do, but this is quite firm, so it's not gonna, that's not going to move around. So I'm just going to leave that to dry now, and then I'll come with the next part of the video. So the next part of the shoe that I'm going to do is to do the straps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have cross straps coming across the shoe, and then a strap coming out with buckles on, one on the front and one on this one here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move the shoe out of the way for the time being. I need to cut out some pieces of paste. Now this is the buckle that I used on the high heel boot, so I'm going to use the same buckle because it's the only buckle I've got to do this shoe, but showing you something different with the same mould. For those that didn't watch the high heel boot, this is a mould from I forgot who it is. Oh, Marvellous Molds, that's it. So what I need to do first of all is I need to cut out a couple of the buckles, because I need to find out the width of the strap on the buckle so that I can cut out the straps the same width. So we need to get that first of all. So I'm just going to roll some of this paste out. We don't need that much, we only need a small amount. Just get my rolling pin. Roll that out. So if I can get it roughly to the length and width of what I'm wanting, then I can put it into the mould. There we are. Just pop that into there like that. Just going a little bit offside there. Now I've pressed it quite well down into the mould. I've got it a bit thinner than, I don't like it being too thick, so what I'm going to do is just go over the top of the mould with my rolling pin, which takes off most of the excess. Just get that bit round there off, that bit there. Then I'm just going to go back and press into the mould to make sure I get all the detail in, and then pop that out. Now I could use artificial buckles if I wanted to on these, but I'm not going to do. I'm going to make them. So we'll cut that out, and then we'll roll another piece out, for the other buckle. Again, pop that into the mould, make sure that's in, and then again roll over the top with the rolling pin. As you can see, the excess has come off on the rolling pin anyway, so that's one good way of doing it. And then just pop it back into the mould to get the detail in it. Right, so that's that done. Now what I didn't do in the last video is, with the holes that are in the buckle, what you can do is to get something with a sharp edge, a saddle stick or something like that, and go into the holes just to make them deeper, so they're more prominent, so you can see that they are holes. So we'll just do that with all the 3 holes there, like this. So something fine with a fine edge you can do that with. And I'm just going to set those to one side for the minute. Then I'm just going to roll some more paste out, and I need 2 straps in this colour. Now then, somewhere on here I should have some formers. There we are, got one there. We can pop on the front of the shoe to put the straps over, and somewhere I think I've got a heel former somewhere as well, which I can use for the no, I can't find it, so I can use that. I think we might get away with that. Yeah. So get this long enough so that we can make some straps with that. Try to get it smooth all the way along as well, because you want your straps to be even, you don't want any ridges in them. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do the same as I did before. I'm going to put some of the liner that we used in the shoe. I'm going to do the same thing again and put a liner underneath these straps that I'm going to do, because with it being an open-toed shoe, you can see inside with everything. So I'm going to roll some paste out the same. I'll just move those buckles up a bit further, and then I'll do the same thing as I did with the back of the shoe. And line the straps in exactly the same way. So it doesn't matter about rolling it quite thinly, because you're going to have 2 layers anyway. So what I need to do now is to work out what sort of width I need. So I want that sort of width. And just bring that down a bit further. Fit that in between and cut out the straps to the same width. cut across that, take that off, and then I'm just going to do another strap down the other side, just to even that up because I've taken a little bit off there. Bring that down. And then I want a third strap. Yeah. I have gone off a little bit off piece there, but never mind, I'll take that off. If I put that on there, just take that bit of excess off there. I've gone a little bit narrower at the bottom there, so I'm just going to take a bit off that to even that up. Take that out. And if I turn that over, glue all the way down that. Any bits of excess that I've got left I can take off afterwards, so just lay that onto there like that. And slightly narrower on that bit, and a bit off the end there. And a little bit off that side there. There we are, so that's one strap done. There's a little bit of excess there, but I do need a little bit of movement in it. Just take that bit off the side there, gone a little bit over. You always end up with little bits like this, so just take those off afterwards once you've got your pieces together. Or you could do like I did with the heel and then just glue everything on. Glue it on first before you cut it out. Just take these little bits off here. There we are. And we've got a little bit where I've gone over there. Just take that off. Then pop that onto there like that. Take that off up that side there, and down the other side. Take that off at the bottom and at the top. Turn that over and whoops, that's it, that way. I always put the sort of grease side that the side that on the board, I put that face down, because if you've got any white fat on your board or anything like that and you want to put any colouring of any kind on, sometimes it won't take if it's greasy. So if you're wanting to put anything extra on top, like if you wanted to dust it a lustre powder or something like that, then you need to make sure that you've got a clean surface to put it on, otherwise it can show up on your work. So just take that bit off the end, pop that to one side, and get the last strap. I can get rid of all those bits and pieces now. You never know when you're going to need these pieces of paste later on, so make sure you wrap it up when you're finished with it. Another piece there. You put it into a zipper bag like this, and then roll your air out first before you zip it up, and then that stops it from drying out, because if you get an air pocket in your bag, your paste will still dry out because there is air in there. So make sure you do that with all of your paste. Right, if we do this last one, I hope I've got these long enough. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, why didn't you measure them? Well, when you get used to doing things like this quite often, usually, most of the time, you're fairly accurate by eye, but that's experience, so it depends on how often you're doing it. It's like everything else that you do in sugarcraft. You get used to a certain way of doing things and you do what works for you. Put that away, and then we'll turn that over, glue down one side, stick that on top, like that. We've got a little bit of excess on the side there, so we'll just take that off. And down that side as well. There we are. Now, once we've made the straps, before you would attach them to your shoe, the best thing to do is to position them how you want the straps to be, and then let them dry before you actually attach them. So I'm going to do these like a cross strap here, and they're going to attach onto the blue part of the shoe. So what you do is, this is why you need your toe piece in place. That's going to go that way, and then I'm going to have the other strap going the opposite way. We'll use this one. Across like that. So if you get those positioned, and then what you can do then is to leave them to dry for a while before you attach them. But what we can do at this stage is to cut off any excess. That's alright there. That's alright there. So I can cut that off there. So that'll attach to that side, and that'll attach to there. That'll come this way, and that's going to go there. So that wants to cut off there like that. And that one doesn't need anything cutting off, and that doesn't need anything cutting off. Now what I'm going to do before I do anything else on here, I'm going to do the stitching on the straps with my stitching wheel. don't bother with the underseat side because it's just a bit the colour that's going to show there, so that bit doesn't matter. I have got a bit that I've missed there, but as I say, this is just a demonstration, so it doesn't matter. But if you've got time to spend on it, then obviously you do that one again and make sure you get that perfectly right. I was just a little bit out with my colours when I was putting that on, so that goes back that way. Make sure you get them in the right position, and you need to be able to take out, I think I've got that the wrong way around. Yes, I have. That goes in there like that. Because when you come, I mean, it will be still flexible if I don't leave it too long, but I just need to leave it long enough so that the paste dries, so it will stay in place in shape. So all I have to do then is to stick it, and then I don't need the toe piece in. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I need to take some off the side of this one. I've got a bit of excess on there. Sticking to my finger with the glue. That's it. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to roll some kitchen roll up. Just move that out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. That's a little bit long. So I'm just going to take some of that off at the top so that fits into there like that. And then what I can do then is to put this strap onto the sides like that. Yep, that's about right. So just hold that in place while I just take off the excess there. And the excess there, so that will fit on like that. I think I might just roll some more paste up and put that in there, and I'll put the stitching down the edge of this. Whoops, wrong one. Just going to make this a little bit thicker so that it holds it in place. Take that off there so that fits in into there like that. And then that will fit round there like that. So I'm going to attach this one because otherwise it won't stay in place. So I'm just going to put a bit of glue just on the edge of the straps there and pop that into there like that. Now that has cracked a little bit there, but that's going to be covered over with the buckle. So I'm just going to attach that now. Across there, like that. That's one. And then the other buckle is going to go across the top one there. I've left these a bit long to dry out, so they are cracking a little bit of these, so normally I would have given a little bit lift on them, so I'm just going to attach that like that. I'm just going to leave that slightly raised up like that. So I'm just going to leave those to dry now, and then I'll come back to them and attach these straps on. Sorry, I had it a bit far back there. I do apologise, going out of shot there. Hi everyone, so I'm back again. In the meantime, while I've been waiting for my shoe drying, I have actually come back and glued the straps onto the shoe. So the next thing to do now is to finish off the embellishments. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave that paper in there for the time being. I'm going to get a finer brush to finish off the embellishments on my buckles. So I'm going to add some gold onto there. So I'm using a quadruple 4-knot brush to add on the little bits of detail onto the buckle. You need a steady hand for this, and I haven't got steady hands. Just going to go down the sides there. And then you just turn this round towards me, the little snake on the buckle, get some gold on that. So that's that one done. So I'm going to do the same on the top one. You should be able to see this a little bit better with it being on top there. And the little snack on it. Right, so once I've done that, what I'm going to do now is this strap here is going to be gold to match with the sole. So I need to take these pieces out now, carefully. So the straps have set in place now. So I'm going to go back to using my larger brush, and I can now paint this strap gold. Just very gently go underneath there. and same on the other side. Just turn the shoe round on this side so I can see what I'm doing. Just catch the edge of the leather so that the blue doesn't show through. So there we are. Platform shoe in gold and turquoise. You can see the side of the shoe there. I'm just leaving it on the former so that, in fact actually I'll try and, if I can just try and take that paper from underneath, it might look a bit better without that. Just slip that down. No, it's not going to come out, so I'm going to leave that because it's not totally dry yet, so I don't really want to move it until it's all totally dried. But I hope you've enjoyed that and look forward to the next video. What I'm going to do in the next video is I'm going to do another shoe, and this time I'm going to do a fantasy shoe. So look forward to seeing you in the next video, and enjoy the rest. Go back and see the other videos, and don't forget to subscribe, and if you've got any comments about anything, please leave them at the bottom below, and I'll try and get back to you if there's anything that you want to know, if you've got any ideas about any videos you'd like to see me do. So take care and stay safe.